Welcome. Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome.
And welcome to all of you here, along with us as we go on this spiritual journey together that we call life. We are in deep reflection hour here today. You just got two of us. It is me and the wonderful and handsome and loving and available Mr. Stephen Grip here.
You forgot sagacious, wise,
reflective.
Yeah.
We're going on a trip today.
Yes, we are.
We are. I actually want to talk about something cool to start.
Okay.
It doesn't even have to do with Medicare.
I had something that I wanted to talk about
Okay.
that was not Medicare related. That was a good conversation starter.
Okay, go ahead.
Want to know your opinion on this. We may have talked about this earlier, but I want to get a strong opinion on this. What are your thoughts? You are a guy who likes to go to concerts when you have time and see live music. What are your thoughts and feelings on going to see cover bands?
It depends. I can't stand the cover bands that only cover one artist. Like, I understand like the cover bands that they'll cover like a few different ones.
Mm-hmm.
I like that because then it's like a playlist you and me would put together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they're playing 38 Special, if they're playing the Eagles, if they're playing a few different things,
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah.
But if I remember I went to a 311 cover band.
Mm-hmm.
And they played Amber, and I'm like, just stop. Just stop.
No.
Like,
No.
like nobody wants to hear that. It's not as good as the original.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've seen 311 probably 3 or 4 times.
Right.
But what about you?
Well, I'm going to a cover band show. This Beatles cover band is playing Let It Be in its entirety. So I'm like, let's see how this goes. You know, I don't know I've never been to I've been to a Beatles cover band show.
Mhm.
I've been to a couple, and they're good, but it's not like, it's like a local bar. You know, I'm drinking at a bar and then they're playing Beatles songs. You know what I mean? But this is an actual cover band that does Beatles music that is going to be playing Let It Be in its entirety, kind of a tribute to the documentary. So I'm like, I'm going to go check it out and see how it is. So I'm kind of with you on that, but we're talking cover bands.
I guess.
Would you go see, pay tickets like $25, $30 to go see a cover band? It's very big in Austin right now.
Yeah, 'cause you can't get in any other music.
Right?
And
I know they're all
as
too
a broke
expensive.
teenager, I saw every concert I wanted
Right.
to see.
Right.
As an adult with money, I can't see a thing.
Yeah, I know.
I
It's
would
hard. I
pay-
agree.
Up to 20 bucks to
Maybe
see.
20 to see a cover band.
Yeah.
Who would it be though?
Unless, but you know what? The most fun I think I've ever had was at the Spasmatics. Actually, Richard Cantu hired them for his 50th birthday. They were a blast.
Yeah.
Like, they put on a great show. But then again, I didn't have to pay anything.
What did they play?
Right.
What,
They played everything.
They do a mix of like what I
so
was
it's like a
talking about.
playlist type thing. They
Correct.
Wow.
Here's my kicker. Have you seen them again?
I haven't.
Exactly.
I haven't.
Yeah.
The people who follow the cover bands, that's what's weird to me.
Yeah, no.
That's what's weird to me.
It's happened.
Where it's like I saw 411
Yeah.
one time.
You're like,
I didn't
it's
follow
74
411.
groupies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because it's just so
They have
weird to me. But
Spasmatics, sure.
that is the exact thing right there for these cover bands. You can't see them more than once.
It's happenstance. It's,
Yeah.
do they happen to be, where I want to go?
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had scenarios where, like, at a company party, there was a really great cover band.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, invite them back the next Christmas
Right.
party or
Are you paying for
whatever.
them?
Yeah.
But I avoid them.
I mean, they were
Sorry.
great. The Spasmatics put on a wonderful show, like the energy, everything, but I wouldn't hunt them down
Yeah.
to go see them.
Right.
Nah.
Yeah.
We're going to see, oh God, who's playing? Jason Mraz, I think?
Yes.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think at the Moody.
I thought it was F1.
Oh no, yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we're seeing Kevin Hart right around that time too. I love Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Awesome.
Well, ladies, what are y'all? What's your theme now?
Guru gals.
Guru
Yeah.
gals,
Guru gals. That's
meta
what we call
gals,
The Medigals.
them.
whatever.
Meta gals.
The strong women here. How are y'all doing today?
Great.
We're doing more of a philosophical, more than we'll mix in some Medicare and stuff like that too. So if you want to talk about feelings, or emotions.
It's that
Oh, I
kind
have
of-
a call just a minute.
It's that-
You need to access your excuse to
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about
Oh no, me and Griff, we started off very, very
it.
philosophical
It felt
here.
Very
emotional.
introspective.
Uh-huh.
I feel very emotional when I walked in here.
Not emotional, just more introspective, more, kind of figuring out what's going on with our own personal thoughts and
Mhm.
what's going on. And we just led with the cover band question.
Mhm.
Now you guys walked in, so
Yeah.
I
can-
open.
I can go over something this is more on everybody deals with personal struggles every day. You don't know what's going on in somebody's life. You don't know what's going on inside their head. I had one last night that it's like a breath of fresh air. So as everybody knows, we wrecked a boat 2 weeks ago. Okay, done telling the story. Not really. I'm still going to tell it on the phone. I just won't tell you folks because you've already heard it. Now, our vacation starts not next week, but the week after. And my mom and my dad are still bummed out. I'm one of those people, like we said yesterday with the goldfish. I'm not letting it affect me anymore. I'm just going to control what I can control.
You totaled it?
It
The capsized.
lost my phone,
Jacob,
my wallet, and
How did
keys.
you do
Yeah.
that?
Jacob had to
I had to
swim
swim
under the
under
boat and
to-
free the dog.
'Cause it was tied to the boat, yeah.
Yes, he saved his dog's
How
life.
did you flip your
Super
boat?
hero.
There was a hole,
Yeah, it's a leak.
big hole,
It's an-
And the water, and you, wow.
and I'm still peeling on my back. I look like a lizard person, and
How many
and
people were
nothing
in the
else.
boat?
I was me, my dad, my brother-in-law, and our 2 dogs.
Was it rented?
No,
How'd y'all miss the hole?
we didn't miss the hole. The hole was on the bottom, so
Right.
we couldn't see it. It happened while we were in the water.
Oh, gotcha.
Not
gotcha,
when we
gotcha,
put it
gotcha,
in,
gotcha. Okay.
Well, there's the story for everyone there too that I said I wasn't going to tell.
Right.
But so there's been like this really weird animosity in my family dynamic because like fiance is having an issue with the parents don't really want to do anything, like they still want to go but they don't, and so it's really on like me and my sister doesn't know a lot about fishing or about boats. Hey Sarah. But it's like it's your issue now, fix it. And so I've been having to go like back and forth because really in our dynamic, like the only people that really want to fish is me and my mom. But my mom will not be told how to fish, where to fish, what to use. She's a strong, independent Czech woman. Don't need no man telling her how to fish. She'll do it all. She'll bait it. She'll get the fish off, everything like that. But it's so hard for her now because she's like, well, we don't have the boat. She's like, I just don't want to do anything. All right.
She's depressed.
Yes,
about the boat
yes,
issue.
she's depressed from it. So I've been trying to look at things like renting a boat for a week, doing, all this other stuff, contacting people, Facebook groups, all this stuff like in behind the scenes. And I finally just got tired of it. And I'm like, I just don't want to deal with it anymore.
Where are y'all going?
Down to Rockport, so a little bit above Port Aransas.
Why don't you just charter
So
deep sea?
that's the thing. We don't go deep sea fishing.
Oh,
We like bay fishing.
That's what I want to do.
But I'm getting to that there. So it was one where, they have all these trips that you can go like in the bay and it's like 4 or 5 hours and that's it. And they're like a couple $100. I'm like, I'll look at like maybe booking one or two like for the week. And so I was talking to them yesterday and I was like, hey, look, do you guys even want to do this? And both of them were like, absolutely not. And I was like, okay. And so then I asked Michelle, I was like, hey, would you go fishing with me? And she was like tag along. And I'm like, all right, I'll just book the damn trip for myself. I'll make a new friend. I'll just talk to the guy. But then it got through everything. I finally and it's almost like a sales thing. If you really think about it, I was talking to my mom and dad on the phone. I'm like, look, like, what's the issue here? Why won't you guys go? You want to go. I know like the situation sucks, but it's over with. We have to focus on what we can do now. And they're like, well, we're both getting old. We don't want to be on a boat for a full day. We want to be able to have the luxury to like come back, take a nap, then go back out. We won't have dogs on the trip this year because we're going to board them. That's the first time in like 15 years we haven't had a dog on the trip. And they're like, we just don't want the hassle of just being stuck somewhere all day. And I go, okay, if I can find something with amenities, like what do you guys need? And they're like, well, number one, your mom needs a bathroom because she's not going to go 12 hours on a boat without a bathroom. She was like, she can do the 4-hour one, but she doesn't want to do that because it's only 4 hours. So I go, so what about like, because now we're talking not cheap boats either.
Right, right,
Mhm.
right.
Or little day trips. Now we're talking about
The
big
yacht.
trips, which we've never been. We've never been deep sea fishing before, and so I'm like, oh, God, okay, well, we'll see how much it's going to cost. And then my dad was like, well, if it had air conditioning too, that would work. I go, okay, like you guys are kind of getting old here. Like, all right, let's stop it. And so then I'm talking to my sister who hates to fish. She won't touch a fish. She'll eat it, but she won't touch it. She won't touch a rod. She won't do anything. She just likes to be there and be picture girl and beer girl. That's what she likes to do. So I was talking to her and she was like, yeah, I really need a bathroom, like maybe some air conditioning, somewhere to sit. Like if I could have Wi-Fi. And I'm like, we're not going on below deck. All right. Like we're not getting Captain Sandy.
Wait, did y'all's boat have all this?
No, our boat had none of this. Had none of it.
I don't know.
Now you're the cruise director.
So yes. So I'm like, okay. And then, so I was talking to my sister about it. So I'm like, okay, look, I have to go on a fishing trip with somebody who doesn't want to go fishing. Okay, I have to figure out how to work
Does
that
it
out.
need to have a water slide? Because that's a big one, right?
No water slide.
Okay,
there.
yeah.
But then it's like my brother-in-law. So he works a few different jobs, but he's really like on call on his laptop on his phone. And it's like, well, if we're going to be offshore, it's like it's got to have Wi-Fi. And he's like, well, I have a mobile hotspot, so I can take with me. So I'm like, perfect. All right. They have like a little area where if you need to put your laptop out, you can work. Whereas if we had our other boat, we would just drive back to the house, drop them off, and go back
They
out.
go back, right?
Right.
So I'm like, okay, so we need that. And then I'm talking to Michelle, and she's like, I'll fish for a little bit. I go, well, it's 12 hours. She goes, well, then I'll sit in the air conditioner, bring an iPad, read a book, something like that. So I'm like, okay. So I found the only charter
It has all of that?
that was available for a Tuesday that has a bathroom, it's got the seating area, it's got a shower in it, it has everything like that. And I saw the price tag, and I'm like,
You should just
all right,
do
I guess it's
a
Jacob's
non-expensive
vacation
one
this
to get
year.
a jet ski.
There you go.
But it was, yes, I needed a massage chair after that.
Yeah.
But it was one. It's we kind of do it here with what we do. You have to really grasp everything from everywhere and find the one thing. Now it's not as budget friendly as I wanted, but it appeases to my mom who wants to fish but has her own private bathroom. My dad who wants to fish but wants to get out of the sun and go in the air conditioning. Me who's going to fish for 12 straight hours. My sister who's not going to fish. She wants to sit in the air conditioning, take pictures. Michelle who will fish a little bit. My brother-in-law who can fish and still work. Where everything is accommodating. Did I want to rip my hair out trying to find this? Yes. But that correlates into exactly what we do here. It really does, to where you can have somebody and they say, well, we want a bathroom. Okay, you need to go get this. That's your only option. It's like, well, no, we have other things. I'm talking about how I rented a charter for 2 weeks from now for when we're on vacation, since we don't have the boat.
Okay.
But how it kind of correlates into everything, how there's so many different needs that are out there, that we needed air conditioning, we needed a bathroom, we needed Wi-Fi, we needed whatever it is, that it's really hard to put into one package. But then when you finally got it, like I was riding a high yesterday after I bought it.
I'll bet.
I was like, I told him
What
to,
was your commission on that?
just negative.
Happiness.
I told
Yeah,
him too.
joy.
I was like, don't worry. I was like, Medigap, Jesus has it.
Yeah.
Don't send me money. Don't Venmo me. Nothing. I told my sister, I was like, you just pay for the tip. I was like, just get some cash, pay for the tip for the guys. That's it. I was like, I got everything. And it felt good
Yeah.
knowing that it's all taken care of, that this is all put on my plate, not by my choice, just because I'm
Right.
the glue of everyone. But it just, things like that feel good. And that correlates to, again, exactly what we do here, that when
Yeah.
you're able to do all of those things and wrap every little thing that they want and they need into one and then finally do it, that's what gets you going. Because that was at like 8:30 and I didn't fall asleep till like 10:45. Like I was texting my mom, I was texting my sister,
Yeah.
we're like sending gifts back. I was like showing them the pictures of the fish that they were catching. Because it's going deep sea too, and none of us have ever been deep sea fishing. It's going 30 miles out. And so it's a whole brand new experience for all of us.
Where are you going?
And Port Aransas.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a whole new experience for all of us, but that's what we do. It's we take the, okay, what do you need help with this? Do you not? Is this something that we can let go?
Mhm.
Okay, so we're not going to bring that back up. Do
Yeah.
you need help with this?
Right.
Okay. That was just like Kim did a great job here this morning too, where there was a lady where her primary focus was, I can't afford to go to my specialist because my copays are so high. And at that point, it's not okay, so let's see, your copays are really high. Well, how much do you have in dental?
That's not what's important.
Are they covering your glasses? Are you getting over the counter? It's when you get those things like that, and I want to ask your opinion, like how you guys approach that too. What do you do if they immediately come up and say, I can't do this because my plan doesn't help me do it? Like, what would you say in that case, Victoria?
No, well, I would obviously say, well, if that's something, a problem you're having and a hurdle you're coming across, I want to fix that. What else are you having problems with? What else do you need that you're not getting from your plan? What other problems are you running into so that I can find a solution for it?
Mhm.
So you can focus on those things, because I think it's easy to just assume what people want, because so many people are calling in about like the flex card, the grocery money. It's easy to just assume every call you get that's what's important to them. But then you find out, well, that really doesn't speak to them. They don't care about the grocery stuff. They need dental work.
Mhm.
And, you kind of just have to ask them what is important to you, so they'll tell you.
Yeah.
Now I want to ask Laura this question because you're kind of new to the dojos and everything like that here. In that case, would you ask them, what else do you need? Or would you solely focus on that copay?
Well, because she said it was a specialist and it was a copay, I would automatically look to see if there was a chronic plan, because those usually are pretty heavily saturated with benefits compared to what she has. Seeing that I can get her specialist visit down is what I would make my primary focus. And then I would just add in the quote unquote fluffers after that. Not only can you see your specialist for this, but this plan will also give you X, Y, and Z.
Okay, what about you, Penny? Would you solely focus on the copay, or would you try and wrap in and find other holes from the get-go?
I would ask a lot of questions about what they need and how often they see their doctor and the chronic issues they're having, if it was, especially since it was a specialist, and be talking about that while I was looking, and get the plan narrower and narrower, like until I knew for sure we found the right one. And if I think that it has a huge amount, like something really shiny, really sparkly and shiny, I ask them, and we haven't talked about it yet, or what, then I kind of bring up, well, and how are your teeth, or whatever the thing is, and well, this one
Would
has.
this benefit you?
Right, yeah. So I ask more questions that I think, once I think I've narrowed it way down, but the primary focus, like Laura was saying, would be get that copay down.
And this is why we do things like that, because you get so many different opinions, and probably you and me would have the exact same route. If somebody tells us, I can't afford my doctor because the copay is too high, what are we going to do?
Medicaid.
What's your doctor's name?
Mhm.
What city are they in? Okay, let me pull them up. Let's look only for that doctor right now.
Mhm.
Because it's an as need basis here. Their primary thing is, I can't go to my doctor because I can't afford it.
Yeah.
But a specialist is one solid copay, no matter who the specialist is.
Mhm.
So I don't know if I would focus on the doctor in that sense, because they might have, different doctors, or they would be willing. I've had a lot of people that are just willing to change their doctor. They don't care about that. It's just the fact of the matter that they can't pay $50 every time they need to go see them.
Yeah, but I think he's trying to say, and I think I'm understanding, when you are saying, I cannot see my doctor, that means that there's, in their minds, something wrong with their plan.
Right.
So you can have that conversation about plans, because they are under the mindset of, I want to look for the doctor to see what's going on. And then we discover that plan doesn't take your doctor.
Right.
But when you're having a conversation about somebody that is looking for a flex card or extra money, like, they are under the assumption that they don't have to change anything with their plan. These are just benefits. They're added. And a lot of these third-party people are reaching out like, you can add additional benefits. So yeah, when you have a conversation like that, I'm going to immediately address the need. Not that I'm trying to switch them or anything, but it's like, okay, we need to figure out why. You know, that's what you call it for.
Yeah.
So I need to find out what's going on with your doctor. And then when we
Right.
find out that the plan doesn't take it, okay, step one, complete.
Right.
This plan does not work. Now let's look at
Yeah.
what we can do from that. And while we do that,
That's awesome.
we're going to also add and research what other perks can be added onto this plan. But the focus is they have a need, they called in, and that has to be addressed
Mhm.
right away.
Right.
Well, the reason why, like, as soon as they say something's wrong with their plan, I'm like, oh, well, let's write this out. Well, like, oh, they're opening up to me. Well, what else? Open up some more. What else don't you like? Or what else could you use? Because I think so many other agents are still focusing on all the extras, the fluff, this and that. They're not addressing, well, what's the problem? Is there a problem? And so
Right.
I'll, say, what else, until they stop going. And that's okay, let's start back at the top one. That's the most important to you. Okay, you can't see your doctor. Let's start, and we'll kind of go one by one. But I kind of feel like they open up about one thing. I'm like, oh, well, let's just open this thing up even more. Let's keep opening up about how you feel about it.
Right.
I wish
So
all
we're
my
we're
clients had a
aiming for.
problem.
Because so many people won't.
Right, I agree.
That
So
would
many
be so much
people
easier.
will not open up. They'll be like, yeah, my plan's fine. I'll say, is there anything you like or you don't like about your plan? No, it's fine. And then later on in the conversation, well, I tried to see the dentist and they said I couldn't see that one. And like, oh, well, why didn't you, when I asked in the beginning, was there any problems? They wouldn't open up to me. So if somebody
Why do you think that is?
Probably not in network,
What's that?
either not in network.
No, why do you think they didn't open up at first when you asked them?
I don't know. Sometimes I think it's because they could be just focused on the free stuff,
Uh-huh.
or they just don't open up, or maybe if I put it on myself, maybe I didn't make them feel that they can open up to me.
Oh.
Could be a number of things.
Yeah.
So usually I think the hair trigger answer to the question is everything goes okay is yes, everything's fine.
Yeah. I've always felt that the reason that they're not talking is because,
Insurance is really boring.
yeah, and also like they
You're
don't know
boring.
they don't know who I am. They're like, think about it, like
Right.
their experience with being on the phone about their insurance is the majority of the time is negative.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like, as soon as I let in one little thing, well, it's okay, they're gonna be like, oh, let me sell you something.
You're a salesperson.
Yeah,
They don't want to
right,
direct you.
Right.
Right.
So they're gonna be like, I really don't want to talk about my plan. I'm okay. But then the reason you guys do so well is because you're not of the poke at the bear. Like, let's get some sales. It's like you have a conversation with them, and that's kind of like unnatural for them on the phone.
Yeah. And sometimes it takes another go around to get them to open up, because like if I say, oh, well, is there something you don't like about your plan? No, it's fine. And I go into more of like, look, we're family right now. So tell me what's up, what's going on, what's wrong, tell me everything about your situation. And then sometimes it's like, then they'll open up.
Or what's the reason you were online looking?
Yeah, or
Yeah.
If I can just get them to open up, I just get them to keep on if I can.
I think a lot of it goes down to kind of what everybody's saying here is, if they don't want to talk to you, you have to look at yourself and say, why don't they want to talk to me? Because you are the person that is responsible for them not talking to you. Because everybody calling in, everybody that goes, like you said, goes online,
Mhm.
you're not happily married and then say, let me just look at this online dating thing. I'll just kind of see what's out there.
Right.
If you're looking, something's wrong
Right.
and you know it. If you pick up the phone and somebody's talking to you about your plan, in the very deep part of your head back here, you're like, well, maybe I don't have the best thing. Maybe there is something I'm missing out on. I don't know. But it's those people that you need to not break them down, but just get on their level first in order to get to that point. So like, for example, that we were using with Kim's lady, when you start talking about the specialist, that's what I want to base the start of my conversation off with and how I assist you. So from there, I'm going to learn more about you, but you're going to simultaneously learn more about me too. Like I had one of my guys that I talked to yesterday. He was making me laugh because he was like, yeah, on Thursdays, I go and meet my brother after they get done fishing and we have a few beers. And he's like 88 years old. And he like drives over there. He's like, yeah, I only drink 2 beers. And that's it. And I told him, I go, you remind me a lot of my dad. And he goes, really, why? And I go, well, I got a funny story about my dad, how when he was 18, 19 years old. This is back in the 80s. He was painting houses. He was just self-employed. He'd just go paint people's houses. He said after 2 months, he had to stop because he fell off the ladder so many times he was drunk. And that guy, and he just ate it up. And from there, it was, you know, he had every, bless his heart, he had every condition on man. But it's one where these people, again, it's the automation of, I want to force a product down your throat until you get it. Like the old vacuum cleaner salesman that don't leave until you buy their vacuum, or else you got wine stains on the carpet, you got dog poop in the carpet, whatever it is they're trying to suck up. That's really all, you know, we can go circles and circles about the philosophy behind it, you know, whatever it is, but it all just goes back to the point of they will open up when you open up to them. Because you want to be on their level. One of the ladies that I work with today was calling, it's such a, here's a PSA to everyone here. If you can afford your Medicare supplement, keep it. Because if you think this Advantage plan looks real flashy, I'm going to save money, let me go try that. That's when things go wrong.
Right.
And you can't get it back. So her husband, he isn't even a client of ours anymore. He got signed up with somebody else for a different MA provider. None of his doctors are in network. He has a nerve burn that is supposed to be scheduled. He has those gel rooster shots that are supposed to be scheduled. They're in billing hell right now because they're in network, but they want the hospital's in network, but the anesthesiologist is out of network, and they want to do all of this. And she goes, man, it would just be so much easier if we could get his plan back. And I go, well, he's diabetic. He has neuropathy.
Has he ever had a sub before? I
Yeah.
mean, a Advantage plan before?
Yeah, he's already.
Trial ride's
This is his like second year in it. So it's like, she was like, can we look at going back to the Medigap? And that's when I had to tell her. And this is just another tip. You just need to be as honest as possible with these people. You don't say, well, you know, we can take a look and kind of see.
How much are they willing to pay? AARP?
Oh, AARP's changed now. They'll say, well, we'll show you after this.
Really?
Yeah, like a level 2 is like $500-600
Yeah,
now.
it's ridiculous, but there's a way.
It used to be like $300-400, which wasn't too bad in that case there. But I just straight up told her, I go, you're too late. I go, she goes, well, what about like after? And I go, we're not talking about after. We're talking about present day, what we can control. You're too late.
Yep.
So you have to correlate between Cigna, between the doctor's office, between the specialists. You have to do all of this here. Now, January 1st, we can have the conversation, or in October, November, we can have the conversation for January 1st. But it's one to where sometimes you gotta be straight with them. And even when I picked up, I was like, hey girl. She's like, hey. And I'm like, oh, okay, this means something's wrong here. But it's really one that
But you've got to let them fall.
sometimes you do.
Yep.
But you can use these real life scenarios in other calls for when people are hesitating to get coverage, period. Think maybe they're trying to rationalize that they don't need it, that they're healthy and they'll never get sick to where they need it, or people who want to skimp on the, get an Advantage plan over a supplement. You can give them these perfect examples.
I had a great one about a nurse in Florida. She was turning 65. She dealt with Advantage plans because she helps people that are going through all of that, Advantage plan nightmares. And her name was Pauline, sweetest lady. Florida's expensive. Expensive for a supplement. She got a plan in. She called me about 2 months later. She's like, Laura, listen, I'm a nurse. You explained it well. Thank you very much. I appreciate all of the info. I'm going to take this risk. I deal with my health every day. Yeah. Okay, Miss Pauline, that's absolutely your choice. You're within the 2 months of turning 65.
Right.
I don't sell Advantage plans, so I can't help you with that. But here's what you can do. Best of luck to you. She called me. It was a week and a half, just over a week and a half, less than a full year, bawling her eyes out, just hyperventilating, bawling. She's like, I screwed myself over, didn't I? I was like, Miss Pauline, what's going on? They found a mass. It's a mass on my liver. It's spreading. I haven't even been to surgery yet. I've only been to doctor's appointments. It's cost me $3,500. I can't see. And she's just going on and on and on and on. And I'm listening to her and I'm thinking, oh, she's screwed over. I was like, wait a second. No, you're not. I said, and I looked at the calendar real quick. I said, Miss Pauline, would you believe me if I told you could go right back to your supplement? She just lost it.
Yeah.
I mean, she was praising God, telling me I was an angel, she was now hysterical, happy. And it was a great feeling, but that gets offset with the ESRD people. One lady is like, you're just telling me to die. I'm like, I'm not, but I told you not to leave the supplement.
You have to take responsibility.
And
for
you
your
did,
own-
exactly.
Yeah.
It's I'd help you if I could, but I can't now.
It's hard to tell people that Medicare Advantage plans are not designed for people who are sick.
And if we had a crystal ball and we knew,
Right.
then having a Medicare Advantage plan would be like winning the lottery. If you knew that you were going to be reasonably healthy your entire life until you died peacefully of old age, fantastic.
Just like that example we had this morning, the lady who was on Medicare A and B for 13
Oh,
years.
tell this story for everyone
Yeah,
here. This
so-
is a whole lot of sketchy stuff, but
we almost, I think, found a solution, but
Yeah.
in the end, it just fell apart. A lady was calling in for her mother. The mother had Medicare A and B for 13 years,
Mhm.
and she said that's all she ever wanted because she was super healthy. Well, the mother came down with COVID symptoms, went into the hospital, and they did a little chest X-ray. They found a big lump in her chest. And they suspected that it's cancer. They were almost positive it wasn't an official diagnosis, but they said, you need to go to MD Anderson, get it checked out. Well, of course, the mother and the daughter are panicking because they know what the cost is going to be. Their 20% is going to be astronomical. She's calling all around, got a hold of us and told us the situation. I didn't have much hope for her, but I put her on hold and talked to you, Jacob, and Frank, and I told her exactly what you told me, and it's just being completely honest. And I told her, which is, I'm just going to be straightforward with you. It's a little bit like getting into a big car accident and then trying to get
wanting
insurance
Right.
afterwards.
to
Yeah.
cover it.
that really resonates with people.
Yeah.
If y'all want to steal that line from me,
Yeah.
like everybody
Right.
else has, yeah.
That really sunk in for her. And I said, first of all, you're not going to get an insurance company who's going to touch her, or they'll insure her, but not for anything related to that. So, and I knocked down all these misconceptions she's had, which said, well, what about open enrollment? We can get her in if we could just hold out till open enrollment. No, ma'am.
Does MD Anderson even accept Advantage plans? I thought they didn't.
So majority of the time they do not accept Advantage plans, but they do accept Medicare. But you have to be careful with it because for the folks that love to dish out plan ins, guess what? You go to specialty centers, before they even take you on as a patient, you have to sign that, yes, there will be excess charges.
Right, but she can't even
Yeah.
get a supplement.
Right.
Right,
So-
so we were gonna work out some, I said, look, the only possible way is if we just do some weird, crazy, magical stuff that is within the laws. And I get creative with it, and she was on board with it, and I said, but that's if every single thing falls into falls in line, like you wouldn't believe. It literally will be a miracle if we can even get this done. I said, if you're down with that, I will look into this for you. It almost seemed to work. It seemed like MD Anderson was going to take that 5-star Advantage plan temporarily. But I heard her on the phone with the lady there, and they said something about the fact that they had already initiated some kind of testing. They said, we're not going to take it, if it's a new one. And I said, that's where it falls apart because we were because she had dual residency, long story short, put her in an Advantage plan for a month, change her residency to her other state. She would get kicked off and GI her into a plan F and she'd be set. But that was the only thing is if they would accept her at the MAPD, because if we put her in it and they didn't, she'd have no coverage that
Right.
month. I said, I wouldn't do that to you. So it sounds like they were kind of wavering and saying, I don't think so. I'm like, then I wouldn't do that to you. And here's some resources to try to help pay for that 20%. But that was it.
Is she going to move in a month?
Well, it was tricky because she has land in Arizona, that
she lives there in a trailer in her daughter's land.
yeah, she has like a trailer on the land, so
So
she
she was gonna move her
she has it.
residence.
Well, she has an address, but she also has a residency in Texas that is linked to her Medicare
Mhm.
account.
Gotcha.
So it was almost one. This is some next level stuff. For
Yeah,
I know all of
because
us
then you
know
could
here
get her for a
to
month
where-
and then you could
Right.
to where
right.
we the special enrollment that we had would have been a 5-star. If a 5-star was available in Arizona, then what we could do is, or we could use the residency switch to make her main address in Arizona.
And then an
She would have to hold on, which would start August 1st. She would have to hold on to the plan for a minimum of a month, probably,
Right.
Yeah.
just for it to fully
I mean, that's
activate. Then switch the residency over,
Yeah.
where you get the letter of termination for the next month. So we're talking like November here, and then finally probably starting in AEP paperwork. So a guaranteed issue in November is going to be issued in January.
Yeah.
So then maybe January 1st a guarantee issue into a Plan F that's $400.
But
Right.
the issue with this is the lump was so concerning to the doctors that it's like
If they wanted to right
want it now.
away.
We need to do this now. And a couple of times, because the daughter was younger than 65, and I think she didn't grasp the seriousness of the situation and how badly her mother screwed herself, in the whole telling her, correcting her about, open
Yeah.
enrollment, that's not
That is-
any kind of anything having to do with that's going to fix this.
No.
That's not going to
I know
fix this.
so many people think that we've got open enrollment.
Yeah,
you know?
back when she 13 years
Yeah.
ago, when she was 65, that was her one time
Mhm.
chance to do this, and she chose not to do it. Also, you just have to realize, and I didn't say the other example, which I was going to, because I just thought that was just going to kick the horse down, which is she gambled and she lost.
Yeah. I always tell people, 65 and older is just not the time to save money on your health care. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Right.
So do you want to be prepared for that when,
Yeah.
or do you want to save money? Now, for the people that don't have, you can't squeeze water out of a rock.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Get into an Advantage plan. Don't just have an A or B. A and B rather.
Right.
Get either Advantage plan or SUP, not just Medicare, because
Right.
then you're going to literally be stuck holding the bag.
Exactly.
And they made it sound like it wasn't a matter of cost at the time. It was a matter that her health was good.
Right.
And
Yeah.
she's, I guess they didn't go looking for correct information that if later on could they, fix the situation if something like that would happen, or they got a hold of an agent that didn't care enough to warn her. Or if, just like if somebody says, I don't need to stop, I'm healthy, hold on now, instead of just saying, oh, okay, fine, you don't want to buy next. Listen to what I'm telling you. Because now that example, I will absolutely be using it when someone acts like they don't need insurance or they want to skip on it.
Right.
Even with my own, my other aunt who's going to get onto Medicare later on in the year, we haven't really gone into it, but she's talking about pinching pennies. I'm like, and she's had a history of cancer. I'm going to tell her exactly what happened today. Because she's not under my watch is she going to get an Advantage plan or not have a SUP of some kind.
Mhm.
I'm like, well, so she's going to listen to what I'm going to say. And this will help me for her and then for future calls.
Yeah.
And I think the way that you approach it is really great, just because of it wasn't hey, we're trying to get a supplement. She might have cancer. It wasn't just immediate. We can't help.
Can't help you, can't do anything.
Like
Right.
one of the T65 guys I did a few days ago. It was one immediately. So I said, before I recommend a company, before I do anything, let me just go over some health issues, because we're looking for you when you're 70, 75, 80, not just 64 and a half turning 65.
Right.
So what's going on? And he was like, I go, okay, first one, are you diabetic? And he's like, nope, perfect. I was like, awesome. Any cardiovascular history? He goes, well, I had triple bypass like 4 years ago. I was like, oh, okay. Is everything okay from now? He goes, yeah, they put this little thing in me. I go, what's it called? He's like, a defibrillator. And I go,
This little
and
thing.
see, everybody in here went, because they knew what that meant, that nobody's ever going to touch him again.
Right.
But you can't let them feel that.
Right.
You can't let them know that from the get-go. So it's like, okay, so you've had a defibrillator for 4 years and everything's stable with it. You haven't had to go back in. He's like, no. I go, okay, good. All right, what about your kidneys? All of us in our heads, we just think, oh shit.
They've got to restart your heart every once in a
You
while.
got one shot, and I have your one shot in my hand.
Right.
I control your medical history. with this one recommendation that I have.
That's
what
the
did you do?
scary thing. With companies right now hiring hundreds of agents every month, I mean, I listen to people, these new people on the phone, and we were in a training in my previous company, who I won't mention, but we were in a compliance training and we heard this call. It was a couple in San Antonio, older couple. They had 14 doctors between them. They had a lot of medications, 5 at least that were pretty pricey. And they had an AARP Plan F. They couldn't be underwritten to change. Everybody in these Advantage Plan places are just scared to touch supplements, period. So they automatically think of Advantage Plans. They were saying our premium, we pay $2,400 a year. That's nothing each, first of all, for all of the problems that you have.
Right.
This agent directed them to an Aetna PPO. Half their doctors are out of network, so now their max out of pocket goes to $11,500 each. Stopped at the expensive medications because she just got tired of reading medications. Like she read one, then she I don't know, she stopped. I don't know if it was malicious. I try not to think it was. And she put them both on the PPO, and that was that. I begged and pleaded, please let me call them. They've got their trial right, and what they should have done is transferred within AARP to the Plan N. Yes, the company wouldn't have made money on that, but it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Like let me call them, and I couldn't call them. I couldn't call them back, and it just it made me so sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
I was gone shortly after that. And to think that it happens so much. They hired 1,200 people in 3 months. You can't train.
Because
1,200
it's
people.
easy to sell Advantage Plans and it's fun because you get to talk all about all these little bells and whistles and extras that are on there, like
Sparkly
ooh,
bits.
dental.
That don't
ooh,
cost
frequent-
anything.
Right. Look, it's all added.
Yeah,
Free.
but they never talk about, what happens when crap goes down.
When the poop hits the fan.
Right,
Right.
exactly. So it's
Right.
fun, and you don't have to really talk, you can skip a lot of stuff and not have to talk about money. It's easier just not to talk about that. And free is funner to talk about.
Plus it takes time, and if you're on a time constraint, it's your job.
Right, because that sucks. That's a harder conversation. We're talking about money costing you money when you're going to be on a fixed income. Talking about everything being separate. That's not fun. It's a lot to
No,
kind
it's
of
bulky
juggle.
and it's expensive, and people get annoyed when you're like on the 3rd premium, and that's not even counting dental, vision, hearing. They want to hang up on you.
And that's going in depth into A and B and explaining how the supplements fit in there. It's much more time consuming, more educational. It's not the fun product to sell.
I
But you
think
have to.
I think with it all goes back to just being an honest
Doing the right
agent.
thing.
Right.
because
Doing the right
because
thing.
like for him, I could have put him with Mutual and got straight up first 2 years commission right away, which is a nice check for an open enrollment. But here's the thing I know about Mutual is in 2 years, that division is no longer going to be there. Same thing with Aetna, maybe with Cigna. Manhattan just went through and changed every single company that they offer to one that's nationwide. The one that I recommended that was here in Texas, based out of Houston, was New Era. But the reason I did that, and I tell people this every time I have somebody who will never qualify for underwriting, ever in their life, I tell them, you need to trust me on this company. This is a no frills, no thrills, not necessarily name brand. It's not a United Healthcare. It's not a Blue Cross. But this is why you have to trust me on it. They're not going to flip every 2 years. Number 2, they pay considerably one of the lowest commissions that's out there. Now, that's the drawback for me, that's a benefit to you. Because if they pay me less, it costs you less.
Right.
Number 3, where everybody asks 2 years, 3 years for cancer, all of their questions are 5 years. And if they take medication, it's 5-year question still.
Yep.
So we have a trifecta here where number 1, they're not switching all the time. They're staying true to themselves. They're not doing the bait and switch just to get people in, drop the premium down, 2 years, do the same thing over. That's why there's not 18 divisions of New Era. Number two, they pay less commission than other companies do, which people appreciate it when you say it too. Now remember, I'm no fee for you. You cost me nothing. But this is what allows them to stay stable, is they don't pay agents very well. So a lot of agents won't do it. And number three, just going over everything with them again, saying, look, this is the decision we have to make now for when you're 70, for when you're 75, for when you're 80.
When those risk pools get
You
volatile.
put all your cards on the table.
And everything, and you put
Right.
everything there, and by the end of it, they go, okay.
Yeah, like we did my lady the other day, exactly.
Like we did, like
There's
we
no
do,
way
we
it's
do
gonna
with the
come.
guaranteed issue people.
Mhm.
I hate guaranteed issue policies just because they don't pay well. We do them out of the goodness of our hearts. But the one that me and Penny are going through right now, this started on June 20th. And we had to almost like grab her shoulders through the phone and look at her in the face and go, you don't understand what we're about to go through.
Yeah,
This is not a one-day thing and get it over with where I ask you health questions. Like, this is a process. It's going to be very scary. We're not going to get updates when we should. We're going to want to call carriers and cuss them out. But this is what we have to go through. Step number one, this is this. Step number two, this is this. But just be honest with them and say, look, it's June 20th and you want this for July 1st.
Right.
Whenever you call that Advantage Plan company, they're going to cancel you for the end of the month. So you're trying to fit a month's worth of mailers, communications from 2 different carriers, everything into 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
That usually on a good takes 30 to 40 days to have everything card in hand.
Yeah,
Card in hand. But people appreciate that, because if you don't set that precedent from the get-go, it's going to come July 1st saying, where the hell's my card at?
Mhm.
I don't have coverage. What happens? And
Right.
it's like, you do have coverage. We just have to wait for the cancellation letter, like we told you. And then you're, just going back at them and back at them and back at them. It's just be honest from the get-go, but know when to lay all the cards on the table.
Mhm.
Once he said defibrillator, I could have said, I know exactly where I want to go with you. And just went straight to it, not got any other information.
Right.
But no, he doesn't know why I offered that.
right,
He doesn't know why that I say, I already knew where I was going.
yeah. He
Right.
needs to know that that you took steps, that you
Yes.
thought about it, and that he's part of the process of being educated about what he can have
Mhm.
and what he can do and what
Mhm.
that you're looking out for
And
him.
if I'm the customer as well, then I know, all right, I had all this available, had all these avenues. I could have selected this avenue. Maybe I would have turned away and taken this avenue. Maybe I would have taken that avenue. But this avenue with Jacob is the right choice for that reason. And that's the reason I'm not going
Right.
to have to, I'm
Right.
going to know what's out there, but I don't have to dig it.
So he knows he made the right choice. This is it. This is the one.
Yeah, and also if another agent calls and says, well, your Walmart's lower, well, he won't be apt to switch because he'll know why.
He made that
Would want to do
Yeah.
that. Also, he's not going to then call you and be like, why did you tell me about Omaha? They're lower. Were you holding out on me? It just eliminates all that stuff.
But speaking of success stories here, John, tell us a little about that final expense you got this morning.
So
There we go.
This morning, I had a call with a woman.
Here, scoot up a little bit closer to the mic.
Her name was Delia, and she was your standard retired Social Security benefit retired individual. She had her Advantage coverage taken care of. She knew what she wanted. She knew what she had. We spoke about it for a little while. Turning over, I just brought up, the possibilities of life term policy or final expense policy. And she was interested enough that when we got down to the nitty gritty, she knew she was at a good point. Yeah, she could benefit from it. So she really, she liked it. Yeah. So she chose a $20,000 policy, final expense with Gerber. Yeah.
There you go.
It's awesome.
Everything's signed and completed. So do you see what he did there? He brought it up. Did he say, let me tell you about this policy? So it's a whole life policy. The premium never goes up. The benefit never goes down. No, he just simply goes, do you need life insurance? And she was like, oh, yeah.
As a matter of fact, I do.
And it's not, when you bring it up like that, it's not an agenda.
Right.
It doesn't sound like you're reading. It doesn't sound like,
Right.
okay, you're getting something out of it. It's just you're genuinely bringing it up because you care. And that was probably after you already went through the benefits with the Advantage plan. And you're like, I don't even want to change you because you have the best thing possible. The only thing that you can do is hurt yourself by changing.
Mhm.
You can't improve yourself.
You built up credit there.
Right.
And Penny and I were just having this conversation. A
Oh,
little bit
funny how
ago
that
about
happens. Yeah.
Assuming people on Medicaid can't afford
Yeah.
life insurance, we don't even bring it up.
No, they
They absolutely find money for it. It
Right.
might be the only asset that they have, or their only way they can financially help their loved ones when they pass.
a lower policy, but when you present it as you don't want to play past the hat, you know,
You won't play past the buck.
Medicaid doesn't count
Right.
that
Leave a
as
bad
an
taste.
asset.
Right,
Yep.
there's a
Right.
common misconception that
Against them or
Medicare
whatever.
will pay for that. I'm like,
No.
honey, no. And then, so basically we realize, if you don't even bring up the subject of final expense and you just assume they can't afford it, you're taking that decision away from that person. And you're deciding for them that they can't or they shouldn't have it, or they're not, that they can't or shouldn't have it because they're too poor for it. Even if you ask them and they say no, well, they made that decision. You let them make that decision. You didn't just assume, and because they might have really needed that, and you didn't help them with that last piece of the puzzle there.
I think that's one of the toughest things that new agents have to learn is just because you think it's high
Right.
doesn't mean it's
doesn't
high.
mean that, yeah.
I can't tell you how many T65 starting B presentations where you go and for somebody who's 67, 68 just retiring, it might already be $200 for a Plan G. And you go through the presentation, you go through all the value, you create everything there, and then you look and you're like, holy shit. You scroll over to Texas here, you're 67, you're looking at $110 here, but for you, or 200 plus. If you create that value behind it, there's nothing to be worried about. I've had people, the ones I did with Mutual Omaha in New York, that were 86 and just on standard Medicare. They just decided, we need to get it.
Mm-hmm.
And New York's open enrollment. But even me looking at it, I went through the A and B presentation. I thought, I'm sure I can do something in New York. I'll worry about that later. Let's just get through the presentation. I'm talking to the daughter. She's like, look, I want to sign up. I want to get this. And I go, do you know why you want to get that? She's like, well, it looks like Plan G is going to be the best. And I go, no, go grab a piece of paper. I'm going to show you why we recommend a Plan G. Not just because you saw it somewhere online or that's what somebody's friends have. I need to teach you about it before we talk about it. And so go through the whole thing. And I mean, it's $400 a person.
And that was my hardest hurdle as a new agent, is this preconceived notions. And that preconceived notion leads to hesitation when you ask for something, social security number, banking information.
Right.
And I got shot down a lot. And I just had to learn, stop pausing, just confidently go through, because this is what needs to be done. Once I grasped the concept that they need me, they just don't know it, then it became a lot easier.
And you're absolutely right. Building the value will make the concern about the cost of something completely melt away. Because I had a lady who called and she was shopping her Plan N. She had a Plan N. She's really healthy. And I thought, she had a pretty good price. And I'm like, I don't know. But we went through the whole thing. And I explained to her why the G was actually better coverage and why it made more sense, even though it was more expensive with the eliminating the 15% cost. And so that made a lot of sense to her. And that was a big value to her because she had had some health issues running the family. And she saw how the value of a Plan G, she called to save money and she ended up spending more money because the value behind it, she saw that. So she upgraded her plan, paid more, and she was over the moon about it.
I think that's going back to kind of what you were talking about there too. People just get so afraid to ask. You just get that anxiety built up. And
In your
like,
head.
I don't want to do it. One of the key factors that I can tell in any phone transfer, any call that I enter in. If I hear somebody doing an application and they turn around and say, they won't give me their social. They don't trust you.
Yep,
They don't like you. They don't believe you.
Yep.
They're just leading you on.
right.
Because
They're gonna cancel that.
when I do it, I'm just nonchalant about it, doing it. Okay, let's look up what your Medicaid is. Okay, we're gonna get your Medicare number. What's your social?
Yep.
Oh yeah, it's 5, whatever. But if you approach it with the, okay, now before we do this, I just want to let you know that I will need your social security number and your banking information. Now we're on a protected network here, and these phone calls are recorded, so we can have all this.
Don't worry, you
can
trust me.
Yeah.
At that point, again, yes, you're like this is sketchy as hell.
Yeah.
What are they going to do with my information?
Yeah.
That's why the
What's
trust is
gonna
so
happen?
important right from the get-go. And if for some reason you cannot get them to open up, you can still tell they're resisting and you haven't even gotten that far, you got to just call it out and say, like, you know what, I feel like there's some tension here. Like I'm struggling. You know what's
This is
going
a bad
on?
first date.
Yeah, like what, is there something you're not comfortable with? Or is there a concern you have that we haven't addressed, because you have to nip that in the bud, because it's not gonna get better.
You can't pull the. We'll deal with it
I
later.
think
Yeah.
there's
Go ahead,
some
John.
people that are
Yeah.
just that level of old fashioned that will just for not any reason, succumb to sharing that in a lot of ways. I don't know how many, maybe 5% of the population, I don't know, but it's definitely, there's some people that are firm on that. I also wanted to mention the other day I had a woman that when it came to the scope, we worked everything out. She was going to improve greatly. It was like, easy. It was just, this was going to be a, great kind of support for her. She was really dealing with just an empty plate. She didn't have any protection. But when it came to the scope, she said, "Oh, no one's ever sent a text to me before," and she got totally. It totally freaked her out. She wouldn't go forward. She didn't believe that she would need to deal with a text with a link. She thought it was just so strange that it just totally, she ran out the door.
And
You don't see
even
that
that,
often. That's
even
very
right,
rare.
it's
Yeah.
not, but now that you've come across that, probably now you'll address, any concerns before it even gets to the scope. And I've heard of that before, and I've had it happen where people get spooked by the scope. So even before I bring up scope, if I don't feel that we're flowing and they're very comfortable, if there's any tension, I'm gonna address it, because I've had it go both ways. So I've had somebody when I'm like, you know what, I feel like, I'm trying to help you, but you're kind of resisting, or I feel like you're closed off. What's going on here? What's the issue here that I can help with? And I've had it go where the person says, well, you can talk all you want. I'm not going to change. I'm not changing my plan. I don't care what you have to say. You can talk. I have nothing to do. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, you're not open to any extra benefits. No, okay, then we're done here. And I save myself a bunch of time. Or it's gone the other way where it's like, you know what? I think you're very nice and you sound very nice and like, you know what you're doing, but I just don't feel comfortable with who you are. I was like, easy. I'm going to send you an email with my info and my picture and to show you I'm a real person. And you know what? Let's look me up right now. Did you get my email? Oh, you see my license. You want to look it up. You want to look at our reviews. And I've done that with them over the phone. And they were just like, that's all I needed. I feel so much better. And it was a deal all day long. But if I hadn't addressed that and I just like kept going forward, we would have got to the social and she would have like, no. And I would have done it to myself.
I had another loss the other day where I had a gentleman that just couldn't, he needed the coverage as well. He really, he had available to him some coverage that he wasn't up to speed where he should be. It was there on the table for him, would have been easy. We got to the scope again, but he couldn't get it. He wasn't computer fancy enough to figure it out.
People.
And so, but you know what? In retrospect, it was my fault because I heard some like younger children like in the background. So maybe it was grandkids, but I should have asked them, and I didn't. I should have said, hey,
Can one of them help?
Yeah. Is there you got a grandson or a granddaughter or somebody you have some family, somebody over there that can put this together for you? And I let that opportunity slide. Yeah, I should try to call them back today.
Do it. Hell yeah. Come back.
Or if they weren't comfortable with
Yeah.
I have to go get my
or if they
contact.
weren't comfortable from the get-go, they'll make the excuse that they can't figure it out. So that's why if you sense any tension, just address it. Make it uncomfortable if it has to be to get them to tell you what it is. Because, right, and actually I love the scope situation because that tells you right then and there if you're wasting your time.
Well, it also tells you how literate they're going to be with it too and how long it's going to take for a signature as well. If they do it right away, you're like, oh, wow. Like I remember I had a lady out of Georgia. Because we were kind of vibing. We were kind of vibing, and I was like, yeah, we're kind of like right there on
Was
that
there
teeter.
crispy chicken.
We're like, no,
salad?
there wasn't crispy chicken salad plate. But we're like right there on that verge between like becoming best friends or like, you know, it's been fun talking to you, like have a good one. And I was talking about the scope, and she goes, well, I just got a new phone. I don't know how to use it. I go, don't worry, I'll walk you through it here. She goes, what type of phone do you have? I go, iPhone. I go, okay, I got one too. I asked her this question. She just busted up laughing after I responded to her. I go, okay, are you one of the fancy people without the button? Or do you have the button? And she goes, I just went from the button to no button and I hate it. And I go, it's because you rich.
Oh.
She goes, those are for the rich people. The po folk, I was like me, I got a button on the bottom of mine. You too rich for my phone. And that was the tip that went to friends because she was like, oh, okay. But I had to tell her, you know, do you see a little green folder looking thing? Okay, click on that. Now go back. Where you don't have the button, remember where you used to click, just lightly put your finger at the very bottom and go up maybe a few centimeters. And she was like, okay, Jake, just be patient with me. And I go, I ain't got nothing else to do.
But you sensed that. You could sense you weren't quite there with her. And either I'm sure you figured whatever you were going to say to her, either that joke was going to just bust her up and y'all would be best friends, or she was going to be like, oh, dude, that's not funny.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you would have
But
your
at that
answer
point,
either way.
It's a risk. It's a risk that you have to take sometimes. To where if you are right there, we're talking about trust and things like that too. Where if you're on that edge where it is either, look, we're both diving or we're both walking away here. You got to be able to, you know, put your cards on the table and say, look, I'm here to play. I'm not going to walk away. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to try everything I can in order to help you. But at the end of the day, if you don't want help yourself, if you're not accepting of your help, I will acknowledge that. Because at that point too, like you said, I don't want to spend all this time when I could be helping someone who does want my help, in fact.
Yeah, because they won't just let you talk, knowing good and well they're not going to do anything.
Yep, exactly. How'd your call go? Mr. on the phone?
So
This
a
is your
little
first call of the
backstory.
day, though.
Oh.
Well, I mean, backstory is you guys were all busy. I said, oh, hell with it, I'll pick it up and see if I can, because, you know, people were getting a snack and there was already everyone's on the phone and all this other stuff. So I just picked it up and it turned out to be one of the live transfers. And, you know, all I heard was, thank you. Okay, well, let's just start this over. So 2 hours later, we got the sale.
Nice.
But yeah, it actually worked out really well. Really sweet lady, really fun. Talked about going to NOLA for food. Got her on a critical special needs plan. She's dual eligible, but in Illinois, they have these issues where there's not really many dual eligible plans in Illinois. But
They're mainly all C-SNPs, aren't they?
right, but there's one. There's one C-SNP, and she does qualify for that medically, but she also qualifies for full Medicaid as well. So it ends up being a good compromise for her. She ends up getting, this is a good example of, she's like, everything's fine, I'm fine, I'm happy. I was like, great. Well, what else do you want? What do you mean? Well, you got a hold of me, and my job is to get you what you need. So what do you need? What benefits are you not using right now? And she's like, well, I need them. Good. And then she's like, well, how does this all work? Well, the main thing is that just like everything else in life, if you're not using it, you're effectively losing it. You qualify for a whole lot of stuff that you might not know you qualify for. And it's just a matter of structure at this point. And if we don't structure it right, then you're not able to access stuff. And if you don't access stuff, then you might as well not have it and not use it. So let's see what we got. Turns out she's just on a Part D, Medicare A and B and a Part D. So, and it runs into, it's just all this stuff on here. I mean, it was just one of those conversations where she already doesn't pay anything for her co-pays and deductibles for medical. She gets the assistance through the drug program. They're covering that because she is full Q and B. but she doesn't have all the other little things that she didn't know she needed until she started asking for them.
Mhm. But see, her hair trigger reaction was to say, no, I'm fine. I don't need it. I'm good.
Yeah.
That's exactly what her hair trigger reaction was. She was a little bit agitated when, she was actually very agitated when she got to me. And then by the end of it, we're laughing, we're talking food.
That's me when I get home every night.
Agitated.
Because I hear that, and then I got a USA.
So guys, here's a tip for the sales floor. If you really want to lead a productive and happy sales floor environment, don't get a Ring video camera put on your phone, because Jacob gets pinged about 3 times a day. He's like, why? Why?
Front yard and backyard.
Front yard and backyard.
But it's one that what you said is, I always know I love it. Well, I hate it when Michelle does it, but I love it when other people do it and they go, well, it's fine. Go. We're about to get into something here. Like I remember I had one lady that she was like, yeah, hey, call me back tomorrow. Like I want to do the enrollment. I want to have you help me sign up with Medicare, do all this. Okay. And this is one where it's scheduled. It's a hard appointment. I'm calling her at 11. Like it's going to close. I know this is what's going to happen, but I still do what I do with every call, no matter what it is. So I call her at 11 and I go, hey, how was your morning? And she was like, that's fine. And I go, just tell me.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
there
like,
you go.
I was like, go ahead.
And that's the secret all men need to
And
know.
she's like, well, this morning.
Fine is never fine.
Yeah, but she was like, well, this morning, she went like for 10 minutes on what's going on. And I was like, okay, which it was already a done deal. She goes, it's fine. I could go, oh, okay. Well, so I've got the application pulled up here. Let's go ahead. Let's do it. No, that wouldn't have led to, it might have gotten it, but it might have also been some other Joe Schmo calls her.
Right.
And when they ask how your day is going, go, it's fine. He might say, well, what's going on? Why is it just fine? It was something affecting you. What's going on? And then you lose that business.
And that's how it is in dating when you're talking to people. And you tell one guy says, "Oh, good morning. How was your day?"
How are you,
It's
beautiful?
fine. Oh, good. Let's talk about our date. And then the other guy goes, you say it's fine. He's like, well, tell me, hon, what does that mean? Like, what do you mean fine? Like, you sure? And you're like, yeah, I want to go with this dude because he like cares about me and
He cares to ask. Yeah.
Fine is a statement of quality and visual aesthetic. It's not a feeling. So how you feel?
Exactly.
That's why Frank is
It's a
single.
trick question.
That's why Frank is single. It's like, I'm fine. And it's like, actually, you can't be fine. It's not a feeling. And then she's like, man, this guy's an asshole.
I'm still processing how the word aesthetic came out of the word fine.
Well, that's also a slang term of she is fine.
Fine.
Yeah, honey, you are
Fine.
fine.
So, no, that's my little smart ass. No, but you are right. People kind of go, well, no, you're not. No one's okay. You're talking to us when you're about to be okay, but you're not okay yet. Right? So,
Yeah.
no, that was really good, man. We've had a busy morning. I'm sorry I came in late. You guys seem to be killing it.
Yeah. You need to take your calls earlier and get on the board earlier. Like I did. Just kidding. Just playing.
You got on the board early? Good.
I
I'm
did.
sorry, I've been too busy making a sale to look at the board right now.
You know, someone's funny.
Oh, I see.
Penny made a best friend where she was like, hey, I'm gonna bring Jacob on, and I picked up the phone and I go, I'm kind of scared to talk to you women.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I said out of my mouth. I go, I'm kind of scared to talk to y'all. And then she was like, no, jump in, the water's fine. And I'm like, oh God.
At that point, you should have been like, dun, dun,
And
dun,
then at that point, I'm like, yeah, you're right. Healthcare plan looks great. All right, let me read through the disclosure. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh, I
great.
love those people like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've already been going for an hour. Actually, hour 15. Anybody have any closing thoughts? Anything to lead us to a great weekend? Great 4 hours left of the day. Christine, you've been quiet.
Just no.
Is everything
I'm
fine?
Taking it. Everything's fine.
No,
It's fine.
I'm still
You can't be just fine.
I know everything's fine. I just had mommy stuff happen. Just mommy
Oh.
duties at lunch. So yeah, I'm good now.
I'm
Good.
done.
I'm-
Knocked him out.
Mommy duties are over. So
Good.
back to work.
Yeah. Well, I'll say thank you everyone for watching here. We have to go make more sales than we already did this morning. Here this afternoon, remember to go to Insure Sales and Insure Link. I think Brandon was actually on with this morning with one of our guests that we had here. I believe it was last week with Rebecca. He was on a live stream with them.
Oh, I love Rebecca. Cannonball Insurance. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
fantastic. Fantastic.
And
agent.
Sandra was on there too. If y'all ever talk to Sandra on InsureLink, make sure to bring up her Uber rating and her Lyft rating.
Oh, yeah.
She absolutely gets pissed off because she was at 4.9 and then she had a driver and went down to 4.8.
Oh, that's a
And
good
she
tip.
was
Make sure you
livid.
tip right away and don't wait for like a day or whatever, because they'll get testy about it.
But there's random things like that are in InsureLink where it's not just insurance; it's actually people interacting with people too. And that's what we do here on a daily basis. So be sure to check that out. Y'all have a safe and great weekend, and we will see you back here Monday, 12 o'clock Central Standard Time. Y'all have a great one.
Woo.